Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Plymouth Food Aid Network meeting for May. Lovely to see you all here, and welcome to those that can't join us but are watching on recording. So this morning we've got a slightly calmer agenda, not quite so packed as we've had over the last few months. And we've done that specifically so that we can use the second part of the meeting to have some discussions just within the room that are in here. So firstly, we're going to do some introductions. I just probably ought to say, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Tammy Skelton. I'm one of the co-directors of Food Plymouth, and I'm responsible with Ian for coordinating the Food Aid Network. A little reminder for those of you might have seen on the invite that went out that we've got some training available from ARA on the how gambling harms. This is free training. It's available just for about an hour on Monday, the 22nd of May. If you do want to come along, if you could please let me know by the end of next week, that would be brilliant. It's a really good opportunity to just for you to learn some bits to be able to take back to your organisations, and hopefully that will help with some of the service users that you're meeting with and your customers. So we're going to, as I say, we'll have introductions, and we're going to hear from Emma with the Trussell Trust update about the cash first, worrying about money training, and then a strategic update from Ian of Food Plymouth. And we have the lovely Isabella, who is joining us. I'm going to hand over to her straight away. She's from Plymouth University, one of them, Dr. Claire Pettinger's students, doing a project, and she's going to just tell you a little bit about her project and how you could help her. Isabella, I'm going to hand over straight over to you.
Thank you for that, Tammy. So yeah, as Tammy said, I'm a dietetics student at Plymouth Uni and I'm working with two other students on our dissertation project, supervised by Dr. Claire Pettinger. And our dissertation's on emergency food parcels and from food banks. So I'm hoping some of you might recognise this and have received the email from us, or from Lee specifically, asking whether you'd like to participate or not. But I thought I would just describe what our project's about a bit, just to help you understand the email, because I understand it is quite lengthy. So basically, our dissertation is looking at how useful emergency food parcels are if the recipient has no cooking appliances. So to do this, we are asking food banks for one list of food items within a food parcel, a photograph of those food items, and to answer 2 yes or no questions. So ideally we need the consent form signed and returned via email today, but we appreciate like time pressures and things. So after the consent forms are signed and returned, and it's really important we get the consent forms returned because of ethics. So yes, after that happens, Lee will send out some measurement instructions and for writing the food list. It's basically just a food list of items and 1 photograph and a yes or no question on a form. So yeah, and the deadline for that is the 17th of May. So I appreciate it's quite a short deadline, but we've got some tough time constraints because it's a dissertation. Otherwise we would like it to be longer. So yeah, hopefully some of you will be able to take part. And does anybody have any questions? Hopefully that made sense, because yeah.
Isabella, sorry, we don't have food parcels. We people choose what they would like. Is it? Okay. Would you like us to take part, or?
Did you receive an email from us or not?
I didn't see it.
That's probably because it's not a food parcel. I think it will have to be just a food parcel. Okay. But yeah, thank you though.
That's right, yeah.
I don't know if you received one, Richard.
I don't think so. No, I was just casting my eye, having a quick check in my email inbox. I can't see it. I'm happy to take part. The only thing I would say, Isabella, is we actually provide food differently to somebody who has no cooking facilities.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I think quite a few food banks do that. You have what we call a kettle pack, which is most people have, even in temporary accommodation, have at least a kettle. You know, things you can cook. So I'm not sure that our food, our standard food box, would be no use without cooking facilities. But and I think most food banks do tailor their offer, if you like, for people who've got.
Yeah, it's good to hear that food banks already do that. So that's really interesting to hear. We can probably discuss that actually in our discussion. That's already a factor that's considered. Do you have an email address so we could send you an email?
I think Tammy's got it. It's probably easier, or I can pop it in the chat. I'll pop it in the chat.
That'd be great. That'd be lovely. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
I've got another email in the chat as well, so thank you.
I just wanted to say something. I didn't want to interrupt. So I, because I was in contact with quite a few food banks recently, and even on Tuesday, I spoke with Maria from Stonehouse Trussell Trust Food Bank, and I've also done some contacting before. And from my own experience, it's better to actually try and speak to someone in person rather than on email, is because they're all so busy, and they are struggling with responding to all the emails that they're receiving. But if you go to the Oasis Cafe on Stonehouse, they are open every day, and if you speak to them in person, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to help.
Okay, yeah, we might do that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's Maria Mills, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Ella's saying this because Ella's, apart from having done a bunch of work supporting the Plymouth Food Aid Network and updating the map and making contact with people, is also working on a research piece. It's practitioner research, so it's not full-on academic research like you're doing, Isabella, but so we're doing some small-scale practitioner research around food support, food aid, and the BAME communities and experiences of people. So that's probably the context that Ella's mentioning now, I think. So,
and also maybe if you can find telephone numbers, if you go on the A-Doddle map and find some telephone numbers, maybe try just phoning someone, phoning them.
The A-Doddle map was amazing because that's where we got all our participants from. So that was really useful.
That's nice to hear.
Good. Doing its job. Excellent. Lovely. All the best with your work then.
Thank you. I'll try phoning them. And I've got another email as well, so thank you for that. I'll write this down.
Brilliant.
Lovely. Yeah, thanks, Richard. That's really helpful. Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you. Well, if we come around and just do some brief updates. V can't join us. She's here from Leadworks, but she's in listening because she's in transit as we speak. So V's just asked me to pass on that pretty much similar to the way that they've been going. They're still very busy, seeing lots of people, and she'll give probably an update at the next month if she can join us. Eve, I know you haven't been too well, so you probably don't want to say anything today. So Eve's here from Four Greens. I'm pretty much similar to you. Things have been going the same. I know I popped down and saw your larder, which was brilliant, and saw that in action, and spoke to some of your service users, which was lovely to do, really nice, and want to try and make a bit more of a regular point of being able to come down and do that and see how we can support you that bit more. Hilary, could we come to you for an update?
Yes, hi everybody. I'm sure you all know I'm with the Plymouth Soup Run. So we're busy. Our numbers are fluctuating again. We had a dip when people got their money, their top-up money. There was a definite dip at that point, but numbers are rising again. Tuesday night was about 80 people. It really is about more than food. So we have been the last team out on the street at night. We do the referrals to the rough sleeper team. And I was saying right at the start of the meeting, this week has just been amazing, like probably no other week, because we've heard of 3 sets of people being accommodated. A couple who had been placed in a B&B, but because of their dog, The man couldn't stay in the B&B. He had been sleeping in the car with his dog for 7 weeks. We've been supporting them with food every night up on the Hoe. And we just heard last night that they've got a permanent accommodation in Plympton from today. So that was amazing. Another really quick turnaround. A chap who was in Plymouth, sadly, because his brother had committed suicide. His mum had died from cancer only a few weeks before. A Plymouth Uni student who came out with us last Thursday just for some breadth of experience from Access to Medicine happened to meet this chap on Sunday who was in a great deal of distress. She phoned me, she texted me, she sent me to Mayflower Street to the first soup run stop, and to cut a really short story, even shorter, he is now in a room in a path house. So all the services working together. I took him down to the OYO. He then went across to the one-stop shop. Path got involved. I mean, it's rare to have such a quick turnaround. So that was awesome. And another chap who's in Devonport House, very excitedly, told the team last night he's moving into more permanent accommodation today. So food brings people to us, but from the food, other things happen. Lots of medical things at the minute, surprising lots of medical things. Somebody diagnosed with epilepsy, somebody else who told me for the first time last week about his health conditions, and I said, you really do need to go to the doctor. This is big, you need to go. So he's been to the doctor now and's got follow-ups and is keeping me in the loop. I think we're a point of contact for people who live quite isolated lives. So the food's huge, but everything else is huge as well. Oh, and dental. We have a good contact with the dental school. So we've recently got 3 or 4 people in for emergency treatment for their teeth. One man tells me that when his tooth was taken out, it came out in 4 pieces. So no wonder it had been causing him a lot of pain. So anyway, that's enough from me.
That is an absolutely wonderful update, Hilary. And yeah, it's just really, that's made my morning. It really has. And I think that will make everybody's, because, you know, we hear so many negative things all the time, and to have some positives, and 3 positives is just, yeah, wow. So brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Richard, could we come to you? Can you match that?
No, other than to say, I mean, I would pick up on Hilary's wonderful phrase, you know, food brings people to us and then other things happen. You know, we're also finding that, yes, primarily we're a food bank, but the support we're giving through our online telephone virtual signposting and sometimes person to person, it is probably growing, is adding value to what we're offering, and we're really pleased to see that taking up. Sometimes we try and point people in other directions. I know we, for various reasons, we get some referrals from the PL5 area. I think largely because the Tesco there supports us. And a couple of times I've suggested that we refer people on to 4 Greens because of the much wider offering that they have there. I don't know if they've ever ended up with you, Eve, but we tell them you're there because you have so much on offer there in terms of the social support and the integration of people that we don't have. We have in a way over here with different organisations, but not for people obviously who live in Plymouth. So I think there is a key to working together, trying to integrate the services we offer, point people in the direction where they can get help. And so yes, it is so much more than just food, I think is the way I would say. In terms of busyness, yes, we're pretty busy, probably because we have mostly volunteers and a lot of them are retired. We have a lot of people go on holiday around this time of year, which seems to knock a hole in our teams. We have to sort of try and restructure things. I think they like to get away now, but sort of the weather's beginning to improve before the holidays start. And again, all being every volunteers, but people are very good at covering for each other and providing additional support. So yeah, basically positive, but yeah, really encouraging, Hilary. Thank you for sharing those stories with us.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you, Richard. That's brilliant. Diane, could we come to you?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Ian. Sorry, I just saw you.
But just to keep the flow, I'm sorry to interrupt. But Richard, just to say, got a really good response back. You gave that query with Rika last time on the last meeting about support on the salt ash side. So I've spoken with team in Cornwall around that, and I've got a really good response. So probably best if I set up an offline meeting with yourself and Rika to talk that through. It's a bit too much to speak about now, but it's really positive.
Okay.
The other thing to mention to everyone as well, and I think would be helpful to those of you on the western side of the Tamar that come to PFAN, that a lady called Claire Judd has been appointed as the Sustainable Food Places Coordinator for Cornwall, working with Matthew Thompson and colleagues down there. And I was thinking it might be a really good thing if we invite Claire along to these meetings, if she can come from time to time, to create that joined upness, shall we say. Yeah, just to give you that update as well while we're on the salt ash side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Great.
Yeah. Touch base outside.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Ian. Diane, I'll come to you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Diane. I'm from the Village Hub. We're based in Stoke Village. Some updates from us. We've appointed someone for our good food team. So that was part of our national lottery bid, that we would have a person doing 16 hours within the hub. So we're just chasing references at the moment. So we've changed ours now to a membership. People pay £1 and they pay £1 for 5 items or £2 for 10 items. And that seems to be going really well. People are up for paying for it. They kind of almost want to pay for it. They didn't want to take it for free, so it sort of gives them a purpose, and they like the whole, so that's definitely working, and we're finding we're getting more food left over. But we still got free food outside. We've got fresh veg and everything that we put outside, and we get bread from the co-op as well that they deliver. So there are options for free. And what we've also started is a pay it forward. So if people can't, for whatever reason, afford it, then we do have that option as well. So so it seems to be going well, busy in the hub, and lots of referrals. And what Hilary said, I love that saying, it does, food brings people together. It's not the main reason people come in, but it's like the hook to get people in the hub, and then we chat about other things. So that's us.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Diane. Ella, did you want to say anything? Just a general update before we come to you later, just so people know who you are, really.
Yeah, so I'm Ella, and I work for the Diversity Business Incubator, and we deal predominantly with people from the BAME community, so the British, Asian, and other minorities community. And we're doing some work with Food Plymouth and Plymouth Food Aid Network. Currently, as Ian already mentioned, we are doing a little project about how people from BAME community access the food support and barriers that they might come across. And we're trying to get a point of view of the service user as well as service providers. So that's, I think we're going to talk about it a little bit more in a moment. Yes.
Offline, so you can have you can speak frankly without being recorded, basically.
Yes. So that's the little update. We also did, myself and Ian as well, we did a training with Claire Bettinger at university.
Yes.
About the food systems, was really, really useful. So.
Yeah, that was the IFSTAL, wasn't it? And I think Eve, you were there, weren't you, on that?
Oh yes,
well?
and Eve was there.
Eve was there, and Jenny Taylor from Plymouth City Council, who we work with a lot. So that's going to be really useful. They've got a change model called BATWOVE. So hang on to that idea of BATWOVE. I won't talk about it now, but you will hear that again. But it sounds a bit daft, but it's a brilliant model of working through change. So that will be forthcoming. And just to say, the work we're doing on that is really the research piece. The practitioner research is to inform work for the Devon VCSE assembly, particularly the Devon Food Insecurity Insecurity Specialist Hub initiative, and it will feed into that. So it'll get BAME voices, you know, into that, along with another project that's going on in the wider Devon context as well. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ella. Thanks, Ian. We'll come back to you in a moment, Ian, regarding the food collective. Emma, could we come to you and let you have the floor? It's all yours.
Sure, thank you. And so, hi everyone. Most of you will know me. I'm Emma from the Independent Food Aid Network. And basically what I'm here to kind of talk about today is the 2 money counts training sessions that we ran a couple of weeks back. They were fully booked. We had 60 signups and more than like half of those people, so over 30 people joining on both of the sessions, which is major. That's probably the biggest turnout we've had in any of our sessions that we've run with the Trussell Trust. We've done these sessions in Cornwall and Shropshire, London, Scotland, all over essentially. And these ones have been like the most well received, I would think. And like I said, we ran this with the Trussell Trust, Emma Greenwood, and the Citizens Advice in Plymouth as well. So it was a great kind of team effort from everyone. It's sometimes really hard for us to kind of measure the impact of the sessions. We try and do that through using a website called Mentimeter, where you can kind of put up anonymous kind of questions that people can answer to through their phones or through their laptops, whatever they're joining on with. And we normally ask 3 different questions at the start of the session and also then at the end of the session. They're just basic, like what is your understanding about cash first currently, as in when we start the session, and then we ask the same question at the end of the session as well. It's also about knowledge about the services that are available in Plymouth, especially the advice services that are available, and then also just about your overall confidence about guiding people to these advice services and talking about money. So our average scores at the start of the sessions were around 2 for all of the questions, and at the end of the session we were sitting at 4.5. So that's a clear jump between like the confidence about the topics that we were essentially talking about in the session. So that's really, really good. At the back of the sessions, we've received leaflet orders for almost 10,000 leaflets, which is major. We're currently working on getting a bulk order to the council so that they can be distributed from there, because that's just the most cost effective and cost efficient way to do it. So I have to apologize if you were at the session and you're still waiting to hear back from us and waiting for your leaflets. That's why it's taken a little bit. I think I have emailed everyone to say, bear with us because there is a massive influx of orders. But yeah, we just want to make it as easy as possible for everyone to get the leaflets. So hopefully soon we'll have that all sorted. That's also a clear spike in orders. So we recently updated the leaflet, and within the first kind of 2 months of the newer version of the leaflet being out, so in March and April, we received around 3,000 leaflet orders for about 3,000 leaflets. So to get almost 10,000 leaflet orders within or after the 2 sessions, that's a massive jump as well. And then we also measure the impact in a way because we have the interactive leaflet online. So we use a service that can tell us how many views we've had. So consistently, we've had 1 to 4 views of that interactive leaflet a day. But after these sessions, we had 67 views on a particular day. So that again just shows how us sharing the resource and us putting it out there and talking about it more gets the information out there and people interested in it as well. After the session, we shared a recording, and that has been shared and viewed. Well, we don't know how it's been shared particularly, but it has been viewed 9 times. So we assume that someone who wasn't able to actually attend the session has then had a chance to look at that and get the information through the recording as well. And that's still still available. I'll share the links and things with you after I'm done speaking. We also set up a feedback form because, again, it's really hard for us to kind of get back to people and see how well we've actually done or how people felt about the session. So this time we set up a Google form to get some feedback from people, and we had 17 people fill out the form, of which 47% rated the session as 4 out of 5 and 53% said it was a 5 out of 5. So like matched their expectations of the session essentially, and the feedback from everyone was inherently really, really positive. The only thing that people were saying is, oh, we wish it was longer because there's so much to take in within that 1 hour. We wish it was longer. So we're going to just take all of that feedback back to our drawing boards and see if we can implement any of that in the future, and maybe make it a little bit longer so that the conversation bit at the end is kind of gives people more time to actually speak to each other and to us as well. So yeah, I'll share all of the links after all of this. And then just Emma Greenwood from Trussell Trust asked me to share our kind of longer term plans as well. So we are potentially looking at facilitating a joint event with ourselves, IFAN, Citizens Advice, and yourselves, to kind of look at the benefits of the cash first approach, because that's what all of our work is based around, not only IFAN but also Trussell Trust as well. We're potentially wanting to frame the event around case studies of Plymouth frontline organisations that are using the leaflet, and then to see the impacts of that essentially. And that can include veterans and health visitors, food bank, food pantries, what have you. The main point is to highlight that money worries and ending up at or having to use a food bank can happen to anyone. It could happen to me, it could happen to you. We just don't know. It just could happen to anyone. So we want to be focusing on sharing the individual experiences and how they have been impacted by the cash first approach, if at all. So this event can then be linked to all sorts of local and national campaigns, like the Guarantee Our Essentials campaign that Trussell Trust currently has going on. So yeah, that's kind of our longer term plan with this, and we'll be following up with some people who filled in our feedback form after the session as well, because it'll be good to know if the leaflets have actually, well, after they make it to the organizations, if they have made an impact in people's lives. So yeah, it'll be good to know and see. But yeah, if you have any questions, please shoot at me.
Thank you, Emma. That's brilliant. I think Ian's got something
really
to say.
Yeah, no, it is. It's marvellous to hear that. Brilliant. And there was talk about doing some more training sessions as well, Emma, wasn't there? As sounds like there's an appetite for it. So,
yeah, it really does sound like it. Yeah, we've, again, with our Google Forms, we've set up a forum for people to register their interest for a further session. We were thinking after the summer would be good because everyone's kind of come back from their holidays and what have you. So maybe around September, October. But yeah, I'll post a link to the interest form as well. So if someone has missed it, then you can always register your interest, and then we'll reach out when we have new dates. I'll share the links with Tammy as well, so if you can circulate them with everyone. Great.
Yeah, that would be lovely if those can go out with the follow-up to this meeting and the recording. That would be great, Tammy. Yeah, fantastic. The other thing I was going to mention is that Rachel Silcock and myself spoke with the Sustainable Food Places Network regarding the cost of living response in Plymouth. Rachel's from Plymouth City Council, Commissioner on Public Health, and that has been published as well. So that might be of interest for those of you that might not have seen it. Again, Tammy, if you'd be kind enough to put the link to that in as well, because it all plays into the same, the same area really. But it's great that the cash first approach is, paying dividends and what's the word, taking off, shall we say? Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Ian, do you want to give your update, please?
Yeah, as quick as I can. Okay, so it is interesting on this with regard to, I'm just trying to see which order I was going to do this in. Yeah, so I mean, the Plymouth Food Collective initiative is really taking off at some speed. Mark Rolls from Four Greens Community Trust is, I suppose, the driving force behind it, really, which is great. And that's a whole bunch of people coming together, more on the provider side, you know, in terms of food redistribution and support people and frontline delivery, around creating a what is effectively a food hub for bulk buying and bulk purchasing and procurement of food to then be distributed, you know, in order to meet food insecurity needs and some of the shortfalls that you're running into that you often speak about. So that's a really major piece of work. It's going at a right lick at the moment, and we'll keep you posted as to how that develops. We had a business scoping meeting, and there's another one coming up next week on it. And remember that you know, they were asking on that collective to have at least 2 people from the PFAN network on the front line provision to come along to that and be part of that steering group. So if any of you, you know, not asking you to answer now, but if anyone in the room or on the recording is interested in that, you don't have to commit to it, but it would be great to have conversations with you to try and get that frontline representation there. Four Greens is basically becoming a vertically integrated provider, really, on doing all these different things, and they're only one of many in that regard. So it'd be good to have more voices from that point of view, and I think Mark and co would be very grateful for that. And so, I mean, the Plymouth Food Aid to the Alliance transition with the referrals and pathways and access portal and all the good stuff that will go with that, which rhymes straight in with the cash first approach, which is the opening gambits on it, really. So we're going to be doing some work on this BATWOVE model, and there were 4 of us on the training that have formed a small group to develop that. And we'll need to have some conversations with you. And those 4 people are Ella, myself, Eve, and Jenny Taylor, I mentioned earlier. So if we do that part of it, and then we'll liaise with Tammy and everyone else, all the rest of you, about where that goes. So keep your eyes open for that. But there's a desire to really start to move that along now, and to build on all the good advantages that will bring. And in fact, that alliance, you know, which basically I hope will include most or all of you, will likely be one of the major customers of the food collective as well, if the redistribution hub flies, or the food distribution hub flies, the collective buying piece, the collective. So again, you need to have a sort of customer voice in that as well, really, from that perspective. And then on the Devon VCSE food insecurity work, I mean, Ella's going to be talking about that in a minute. I touched on it earlier, so I won't go over that again from that perspective. But what I would say is that a really good piece of work I took part in last week was offered by Thrive Plymouth, and it's their appreciative inquiry training that they do. And I'm going to try, and it was absolutely superb, and I think it would be really useful for as many of you that can take part, and you being those in the room, those on the recording, as can. And I've asked the team that do that from Plymouth City Council whether they could offer a bespoke version of that 3-hour training online to PFAN network, and I've asked if we can have a conversation about that. So I'll keep you posted as to where that goes as well. But it was superb, and really brings a lot of insights, different way of looking and thinking about things. So I think that's it really from my perspective. Are there any questions on any of that? No, good. Okay, well, I'll keep you posted as best I can as we go. Right, back to Tammy.
Okay, well, we'll say goodbye now to those that are watching online. We'll send out to the recording for everybody to catch up. And as always, you can always drop us an email and get in touch if you've got any questions or you need some more information or you've got something that you want to share with the network.